Hi everyone, big news today. So remember what we talked about during our last video on pandemic preparedness? Remember how we talked about the the observation that countries were not very much prepared for COVID-19 pandemic? Now this is exactly what happened this May 2025. The World Health Organization pioneered a global uh, framework for pandemic preparedness in form of a global pact called the Pandemic Treaty. Now, the HEP framework, the Health Emergency Preparedness and Response Framework that we talked about, was a framework to strengthen health systems. But strengthened health systems are not enough. That's why we needed a pact. And this is like installing an emergency alert system if an emergency, a public health emergency arises. It's meant to enhance equitable response and prevention of pandemics. It's also meant to enhance use of best public health evidence to guide decision making. And it's also guided by the international laws and international frameworks. For example, the international law on human rights. So this framework, this pandemic agreement, respects sovereignty of the states. Now this is a pushback based on the experience with COVID-19 because sovereignty of the states, like we previously mentioned, somehow came in the way of effective global response to COVID-19 pandemic because countries had different priorities and held different capacities to respond to the pandemic. So we still have to appreciate the steps that have been made so far by the signing of this pandemic pact in form of the pandemic treaty, and the World Health Organization considers this a big win for public health because about 130 countries signed in support of this pact, only about 11 abstentions, and none of the countries voted against the pact. So this is a big win for public health. And this is geared to make our response to future pandemics faster, safer, and much more effective. So guys, what would you like to see as a priority in your country's pandemic preparedness policy? Let's keep this conversation going.